Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. In this video, I want to talk about the first generation Olympus OM-D cameras. I have here the E-M5, E-M1 and the E-M10. Which one of these Olympus OM-D camera is suitable for you? Let's do this! The Olympus OM-D series cameras were highly successful and popular back in the day. It was Olympus that pioneered the mirrorless revolution. They showed the world how to make real, portable, professional, capable cameras through the Olympus OM-D mirrorless cameras. One of the popular questions that I've received recently through my live streams or even in my older videos, people ask me, Robin, which one of these OM-D cameras should I buy? I found the E-M5 and E-M1 in the used market. They were about the same price. Should I go for the E-M5 or E-M1 or E-M10? What are the differences? What advantages and disadvantages of these cameras should I be aware of? And that's the question I aim to answer in this video. I will dive deep into each one of these cameras. We'll talk about the similarities and some of the uniqueness of these cameras, and perhaps they will help you better in your decision in getting which OM-D camera. Let's start with the similarities between these cameras, the E-M5, E-M1 and the E-M10. These cameras, they are the first generation Olympus OM-D series cameras. What does Olympus OM-D mean? OM stands for Olympus Maitani. Maitani was a highly successful engineer that created a lot of popular Olympus film cameras, including the highly successful OM series SLR, and D basically stands for digital. So these cameras, the OM-D, they are basically the digital versions of the OM SLR from the Olympus Legacy Film series. Now, these cameras, they are from the Micro Four Thirds group, meaning that they share the Micro Four Thirds mount. Any Micro Four Thirds lenses that are compatible, you can use them in these cameras. They are interchangeable, no problem whatsoever. And they share the similar Micro Four Thirds image sensor. Some will argue that the E-M5 and E-M10, they assume that these cameras may use the Sony's manufactured Micro Four Thirds sensor, while the E-M1's sensor was manufactured by Panasonic. I can't confirm or deny any of these assumptions. Some people say that they can see the differences between the colors in the files coming out from these cameras. I personally can't see them. I would just assume that the image sensors that's used in this first generation OM-D cameras, they are just the same. I get about the same image quality, same 16 megapixels resolution, same dynamic range, and same high ISO performance. So if you use any of these cameras, E-M5, E-M1, and E-M10, you get the exact same image output. Now, these cameras also have very fast autofocus. I personally believe that the autofocus performance, they are very, very similar, but we'll talk about some differences later when you go into each of these cameras. These cameras also share similar traits. They are designed like a mini DSLR, they handle like a mini DSLR. There's the twin dial control, the front and the back dial to quickly control exposure settings. These cameras, they have mode dials, they have built-in electronic viewfinders, and they have tilt LCD screen for easier high and low angle compositions. Also, these cameras, they have built-in image stabilization, which is very powerful and very useful both for stills and video capture. It'll definitely boost the confidence for you to nail the shot, especially if you're shooting in low light environment using slower shutter speeds. I think basically that's where the similarities end. But before I dive into individual cameras, let's take a look at some sample photographs, some of my favorite photographs taken from the Olympus OM-D E-M5. The Olympus E-M5 was the first Olympus OM-D camera and perhaps the most important camera in the mirrorless history. The E-M5, it revolutionized the landscape of mirrorless cameras. This E-M5, it has metal construction. The body is made of magnesium alloy. And the E-M5 itself is weather sealed. It is resistant against splash and dust. Also, the E-M5 was the first camera in the world to feature 5-axis image stabilization built into the image sensor, which was truly amazing. You're gonna shoot in low light conditions, you're gonna use slow shutter speeds. The 5-axis image stabilizations, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities for your photography. Also, this E-M5, it features a new 16 megapixels micro four thirds image sensor at that time compared to the previous 12 megapixels image sensor from the previous generation. This new sensor, it has better resolution, dynamic range, much improved high ISO performance, and it matches even the best performing APS-C DSLR at that time. Overall, Olympus made a truly capable camera, solidly built. It delivers fantastic image quality. All this in a tiny package. This is what a true mirrorless camera should look like, and Olympus showed the world how to make one in this OM-D E-M5. Of course, being the first truly capable mirrorless camera, the E-M5 doesn't have everything. The newer OM-D cameras like the E-M1 and E-M10, they have more improvements and more features added along the way. But before I talk about the E-M1, let's take a look at some of my favorite photographs taken from the E-M1 over the years. Less than a year after the launch of the original E-M5, Olympus released the E-M1. And this Olympus OM-D E-M1 was the flagship camera from Olympus, meaning that this is the best of the best that Olympus has to offer at that time. This E-M1, it definitely sits above the E-M5 and the E-M10. Being the flagship camera, the E-M1 is the best of the best in terms of everything. In terms of construction, yes, the body is even better constructed than the E-M5. It is still made of magnesium alloy, but the construction grade is higher. You can feel that it's a lot more solid. And of course, weather sealing, it gets an upgrade as well. Not just it is splash and dust resistant, but the E-M1 also features freeze-proof down to -10 degrees, something that the E-M5 could not do. Now, the E-M1 was designed to be slightly larger than the E-M5, and the E-M1 has this beefier hand gripping area, and overall the handling feels like a mini DSLR, and I can see why it was made this way. The E-M1 is made to handle larger and heavier lenses, especially telephoto lenses. It will definitely handle these lenses. It will balance them much better than smaller cameras such as the E-M5. Now, the E-M1 also features some upgrades when it comes to autofocus. While the performance is very similar to the E-M5 in terms of speed and accuracy, but it has face detection built onto the image sensor, which allows the autofocus to be much more efficient when it comes to tracking moving subjects, or if you want to adapt older DSLR lenses from the Olympus E-System days. Now, overall, the E-M1 also has a lot of newer features, but a lot of them were added later on during the firmware upgrades. These features include focus stacking, silent shutter, a lot more controls in terms of video recording, and very importantly, the live composite feature, which the E-M5 does not have any of these mentioned features. I personally think that if you want the best of the best out of these OM-D cameras, if you want to handle larger lenses, if you want to use the camera in a professional environment, if you want a flagship level camera, E-M1 is the camera for you. Now, before we talk about the E-M10, let's take a look at some sample photographs that I've taken with the E-M10 over the years. And finally here we have the Olympus E-M10, which was the last of the series, the first generation Olympus OM-D cameras. I would like to think of the E-M10 as the stripped down version of the Olympus OM-D. It doesn't have weather sealing like the flagship E-M1 or the E-M5. The body is not made of magnesium alloy construction, but the body still feels very solid and robust. It does have metal construction. Not sure what metal was used for this body, but definitely not magnesium alloy, which was the highest grade used in the flagship E-M1. And this E-M10, it doesn't have the 5-axis image stabilization in the E-M5 and E-M1. It features a stripped down version. It has the 3-axis image stabilization, which I still think is very capable and very useful if you want to steady your shots in low light environment. Overall, the E-M10 is just a simplified version of the Olympus OM-D. Now, do not underestimate what the E-M10 can do. While this is designed as an entry-level camera, it's the lowest level of the Olympus OM-D, but because it is newer than the E-M1 and the E-M5, it does have some features that were not available in the E-M5 and E-M1. For example, live composite, which allows you to take some amazing star trail photographs or light trail, or there's a lot of creative things you can do with the live composite. It was introduced in this E-M10 and later it was added into the E-M1 through firmware upgrade, but it was never made available for the E-M5. Also, the E-M10 has silent shutter. It has a lot of these newer features that were not available in the E-M5, but of course, the E-M1 being the flagship camera, it does enjoy having all these features added on via firmware upgrades. And I just think that if you want a newer camera with more features and more capabilities, the E-M10 might not be a bad solution. And overall, I just love that the E-M10 is made to be really small, really light. I think as a casual, everyday street photography camera or travel camera, the E-M10 is one of the best available out there. It's still fully capable. It can deliver fantastic results. Between these three cameras, the E-M5, E-M1, and E-M10, which one is suitable for you? Well, if you want the best of the best, if you want the flagship level professional grade camera, E-M1 is your answer. E-M1 has the flagship level construction, the magnesium alloy build is the best out of these three cameras, the weather sealing is top notch, the 5-axis image stabilization is the best. Overall, it has the best feature set, the best capabilities. You won't go wrong if you're shooting with larger and heavier lenses. The handling on this E-M1 is also the best. Coming down to this E-M5 and E-M10, well, E-M5 has magnesium alloy body, it has weather sealing, it has 5-axis image stabilization versus the E-M10. The E-M10 doesn't have magnesium alloy, but it still has metal construction, so the construction is still pretty good, but it doesn't have weather sealing, it doesn't have 5-axis image stabilization, it has 3-axis image stabilization, which is still pretty good. The differences aren't worlds apart if you ask my honest opinion, but you have to understand this E-M10 is newer, it has newer features like live composite and silent shutter, which the E-M5 lacks. While the E-M1 may not have it originally, but the live composite and silent shutter were added onto the E-M1 by firmware upgrades later on. So it depends on what you want. Better construction, better stabilization, weather sealing, or newer features on the E-M10 if you want to pick between the E-M5 and E-M10. Honestly, I don't think there's any wrong pick. If you find any of these cameras at very good price in the used market today in good condition, go for any one of them. You can't go wrong. You get the same performance, you get same image output, same image quality. Overall, any of these cameras that can deliver great results, they share the same Olympus OM-D DNA. And overall, I'm very happy using any one of these cameras. I'll be happy to pick them up, go out and shoot any of my photography sessions. Just a quick word of caution. In case you're getting these cameras for the weather sealing capabilities, the E-M5 and E-M1, Be careful, these are old cameras, they are more than 10 years old. Even if you found these cameras in a sealed box, it cannot guarantee that the weather sealing is still 100% capable. I cannot guarantee that the seals are intact. Anything rubber material or even synthetic rubber, they do disintegrate over time. You will get compromises, so be careful, right? Do not buy these cameras just purely for their weather sealing. That's all I have to share about the first generation Olympus OM-D cameras, the E-M5, E-M1 and E-M10. Have you owned any of these cameras? Do you agree with my analysis? Or do you have your own opinion? Please share them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If you found my sharing beneficial, if you've enjoyed looking at my photographs, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal, links in the description below on how you can do that. Any small contribution goes a long way, will definitely help me to continue making more content. Until the next one, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.